What makes one follow a man into battle? Is it the pursuit of glory? For some, perhaps. But for others, like me, it was for the defeat of evil. For a man to lead against evil, he must be exceptional. I remember such a man. It was the year 2145, and the Third Vampire War was nearing its end. The last vampire count of Sylvania, Manfred von Carstein, was considered to be the most cunning and magically adept vampire of the Carstein bloodline. The vampire lord had been waging a devastating war against us, the Empire, but neither the Empire nor Manfred had been able to claim a clear victory. The Imperial armies had eventually forced Manfred to retreat for a second time into Sylvania. Suffering from severe losses, Manfred avoided direct engagement with the Imperials, while he attempted to raise another undead army to continue his campaign. The Empire had always been fractious, but learning from their previous mistakes, the elector counts of the grand provinces of the Empire had signed a truce. Putting aside their disputes, the elector counts combined forces to rid the world of the vampire menace. To settle all grudges and to ensure the same end to the vampire threat, the High King of the Dwarves sent a dwarven army to assist the Empire in our campaign. The full might of the Empire and the dwarven allies were brought to bear on Sylvania as we searched for Manfred's whereabouts. The cunning swine Manfred lured us deeper into the swamps. With his vile magic, he raised the undead to harass and delay us in our pursuit. The Imperials lost a quarter of the infantry to unseen hands, reaching from the waters and drowning them in the swamps. Eventually, Manfred's legions became too vast to conceal. We had finally cornered him in the swamps at Hel Fenn. The Imperial army was commanded by Count Martin of Stirland, and although I was just a lowly foot soldier from the back end of nowhere, I'd been appointed to his staff. Our line had taken up defensive positions to wait for the dwarven allies. Not knowing whether they would arrive in time, the Count of Stirland assessed the situation and decided to stay and fight rather than delay the encounter any further. We were greatly outnumbered and shattered. We knew the swamps of Hel Fenn were an ancient burial ground, providing countless corpses for Manfred to add to his legions. Despite this, the Count of Stirland was confident in our army's current position. The Imperial army was positioned at the end of the swamps, near a ridge and raised road. We placed our artillery on what would later become known as Thunder Ridge. The Imperial line began at a fortified farm on the left flank, extending along the raised road and ending at an abandoned fort on the right flank. The renowned Ostland Black Guards, with handgunner support, were deployed to ensure the flanks. The Count purposefully deployed the company militia and Empire huntsmen to the centre, with the rest of the heavy infantry and cavalry being placed farther back, hidden behind the ridge. The vampire strategy was simple. He had planned to use his superior numbers to defeat the Imperials, raise our dead, and replenish his numbers before the dwarven reinforcements could arrive. To minimise losses from the Thunder Ridge artillery, Manfred first sent hordes of zombies to attack our right flank. He knew that if he could turn the flank, we would have to redeploy. This would mean losing the advantage of our artillery. In the cold air of the early morning, Manfred gave his orders, and the Battle of Hel Fenn began. Attacks began on the left flank just as a courier arrived to inform him that the dwarves had marched through the night and were ready to deploy on the left flank. It was clear that Manfred had become aware of the dwarves' arrival, but kept to his strategy of splitting the armies to focus on the Imperial forces. Our flanks were holding strong, suffering minimal casualties, as Manfred was forced to put in all his zombie reserves due to heavy losses. With our flanks holding, Manfred began his main assault on the Imperial lines. This would be countered by our leader's masterstroke, a feigned retreat. Seeing the Vampire Count's legions marching towards the centre, I was scared. The Count of Stirland had rightly become concerned that the centre would not be able to execute the feigned retreat with such a strong enemy attack. With great reluctance, he ordered a line of spearmen and crossbowmen forward, alone, onto the raised road to blunt the assault as much as possible. We expected no survivors. The men that were a part of this advance would become known as the Forlorn Hope. To the surprise of the generals, the undead horde began to pull back, as if by divine intervention. As the horde dissipated back across the field, the Forlorn Hope was revealed to be still standing. Manfred believed the Imperial centre would break with another attack. He charged with his Black Knight cavalry, believing victory was within his grasp.
Attend me! Attack!
The Count of Stirland saw the Black Knights and ordered our cavalry, under the command of General Jaeger, out from behind the ridge to intercept.
We are Sigmar's heirs! Ready for war! Victory will be ours! Yes, General! For the Empire!
Manfred saw the countercharge too late to divert his Black Knights. He retreated, consigning his cavalry to their fate.
Don't give them an inch!
General Jaeger's countercharge had decimated the Black Knights. However, he made a fatal mistake that day. He continued his charge into the bulk of Manfred's army.
Destroy the back! The rest will fall away!
Manfred cut off the Imperial cavalry escape, resulting in a massacre. Manfred reformed to make another attempt at our centre. He reformed his skeleton infantry with dire wolves on their flanks to make the final assault. The Count steadied the line. With our flanks pushed to the breaking point, he waited anxiously to spring his trap on Manfred's advance. The remainder of our cavalry were sent to intercept the dire wolves. As the enemy pursued the fake retreat, the heavy infantry charged from concealment, enveloping the undead.
We will kill them all!
In the perfect and majestic dance of battle, the cavalry, having made short work of the dire wolves, turned back and charged into the rear of the undead legion. Manfred, seeing no chance for victory, attempted to flee. Count Martin gave chase on his griffin, and in the ensuing duel, Martin gave the death blow with his runefang. Manfred's body sank into the cold, wallowy depths of the marshes, never to be recovered. Yes, I remember that exceptional man. Martin, the Count of Stirland. His great victory still makes him legendary, long after his passing. The Ostland Black Guards that had held the flanks were awarded the Order of the Thorny Rose, and the members of the Forlorn Hope were adored by the people of all the Grand Provinces. And what of me, boy? Will I return to this sleepy village in Stirland to live out my remaining days in peace, praying that the vampire menace would not return for hundreds of years?